Here's a rewritten version of the story as one continuous, flowing narrative. No headings, no breaks, no bullet points. I've expanded it slightly for smoother pacing, more vivid sensory details, and tighter emotional beats, while keeping the core plot, dramatic irony, and satisfying revenge intact. It's still long, perfect for a narrated video script, but less repetitive and more cinematic. It started at dawn with the low growl of diesel engines ripping through the quiet. I woke to the sight of bulldozers tearing into my family's 40-acre apple orchard. Trees my grandfather planted in 1994, when this was nothing but scrub and hope. Trees my father nurtured for 30 years into rows of Honeycrisp and Gala that fed half the county's farmers markets. Crushed blossoms mixed with churned mud under the tracks, the air thick with diesel and the sickly sweet rot of ruined fruit. The woman behind it all, HOA President Delia Prescott, had forged my signature on demolition permits, bribed inspectors, threatened foreclosure on my elderly neighbors, and even pulled in shady money from Phoenix to turn our rural land into her luxury resort. She thought she'd won. What she didn't know was that for 15 years I've been the county permits director, the one man who approves every shovel of dirt, every foundation, every zoning change in this entire town. She had just declared war on the gatekeeper of her entire dream. My name is Jake Morrison. 3 generations of my family poured their lives into this soil. When my father suffered his heart attack in 2018, the medical bills nearly buried us. I could have kept fighting to make the farm pay, but I took the steady county job instead. The irony stung. The guy saving agricultural land by day was now the one signing off on subdivisions by night. But it turned out to be the most important position I could have held. Delia arrived in January like a storm in designer heels. Fresh from Phoenix, she bought into Willowbrook Estates, the luxury development next door, and immediately set out to turn our quiet community into her personal cash machine. She complained about the spring scent of apple blossoms as if the farm hadn't stood there 30 years before her arrival. In her first month, she filed 47 HOA violations against neighbors. Her leather portfolio became legendary at meetings. She'd snap photos of rusty tractors like they were evidence in a war crimes trial. Then she targeted me personally, a $15,000 remediation fee claiming my irrigation violated some obscure health code. When I demanded proof, she produced a compliance document bearing my signature. I'd never seen it. She'd forged it. That night, I sat in the kitchen with cold coffee, legal papers spread next to my father's old farming journals. Metallic fear coating my tongue as I realized how easily someone could steal your name and make it law. But I wasn't alone. Carmen, my deputy clerk with 20 years smelling bureaucratic rot for miles away, and Big Mike, the burly contractor who'd built our barn with Dad, became my first allies. My lawyer cousin Tony dug into court records and uncovered her pattern. The same scheme in Phoenix, Tucson, Flagstaff. Target vulnerable landowners, drown them in fees and lawsuits, then swoop in with insulting buyout offers once they broke. By March, the signs grew darker. Men in expensive suits surveyed lines with humming equipment, mumbling about preliminary assessments before vanishing in Phoenix-plated rentals. Anonymous callers pressed urgent sell-now offers. Then came the gut punch. The Kowalskis, who'd raised chickens next door for 47 years, were forced into bankruptcy by relentless HOA fines from someone who'd lived here 3 months. This wasn't personal anymore. It was an assault on the soul of our whole community. The first real attack landed in April. A process server hammered on my door at 6 a.m. with a thick envelope. Delia sued me for operating an illegal farm on residential land zone that way since 1987, waving a fake county map showing my acres as part of the Phantom Housing Plan. 43 pages of legalese demanded I shut down and pay $250,000 for diminished property values. Her Phoenix firm pushed for an emergency injunction to close me in 30 days. But years reading fine print taught me where the holes hide. In the courthouse basement, under buzzing fluorescents and the musty scent of old records, Carmen and I traced every zoning change since 1987. My farm was grandfathered agricultural. ironclad documentation with original signatures and seals. Her map. Section numbers from 2003. A missing eagle added to the seal in 1995. A surveyor dead since 1986. Forged government documents. Federal crime. Tony nearly choked laughing when he saw it. We filed a 47-page counter-response exposing every lie, plus a countersuit for fraud, harassment, and frivolous litigation. Then I turned the tables. Her own property had 17 unpermitted violations. Illegal decks, septic hacks, structures 3 feet into setbacks. I scheduled a routine inspection. Carmen grinned as she handed me the orders. Sometimes the best defense is offense. She escalated fast. Fake state inspectors in bubbling laminated badges declared my healthy trees diseased and ordered removal under emergency powers. I called the real department. They'd never heard of them. Then our county health inspector Phillips arrived sweating, condemning my irrigation for made-up groundwater rules. Security cameras caught him taking a fat envelope from Dalia in his truck like a back-alley deal. Carmen uncovered 3 commissioners taking Vegas trips paid by a consulting firm tied to Dalia's Phoenix lawyers. Big Mike showed me resort blueprints, 200 rooms spanning my land and neighbors, dated months before she moved in. Premeditated eminent domain grab. The personal hits mounted. Ethics complaints accused me of abusing my position. My accounts froze on fake IRS kickback tips. My daughter cried over social media smears. My mother fielded threatening calls. But the deeper I dug, the worse it got for her. Her applications claimed 2 extra acres of federally protected wetland, land she planned to turn into a golf course. Federal law trumps local every time. EPA fines start at $37,500 a day, plus criminal charges. Her shell companies traced back to mob-connected Phoenix developers laundering casino money. She owed millions, and the resort was her desperate exit. I assembled the team. Tony coordinating with FBI agent Sarah Morrison. No relation. Carmen building the paper trail of doom. Big Mike wearing a wire. Journalist Rachel Chun preparing the multi-state expose. We timed it perfectly. Environmental complaint filed. Rachel's story dropping noon October 14th. FBI warrants at dawn. Council meeting the next day. Dalia panicked. At 3 a.m., October 12th, her out-of-state crew started a legal clearing under fake emergency remediation. Chainsaws murdered ancient oaks. Diesel and cut would choke the night. I called EPA at 3:15. Immediate federal stop work. By 6 a.m., deputies and agents locked the site. October 14th, dawn clear. The groundbreaking ceremony became her trap. Rachel's headlines hit. Multi-state fraud ring exposed. Phoenix crime family's land grab uncovered. Hashtag Willowbrook fraud trended. She stood at the podium in her expensive suit, golden shovel in hand, crowing about overcoming corrupt officials and environmental extremists for jobs and progress. I stepped forward with my folder and overlay maps. Ms. Prescott, your applications contain 47 false statements, including claims to federally protected wetland you don't own. You forged documents, bribed officials, violated environmental law. Her face drained. She screamed harassment. Then Agent Morrison moved in. Dalia Prescott, you're under arrest for mail fraud, wire fraud, environmental crimes, money laundering, racketeering. Handcuffs clicked. Her associates followed. The crowd, more agents than supporters, erupted. The Kowalskis wept with relief. Big Mike chanted, "Save our farms." Politicians vanished like shadows. 1 month later, she pleaded guilty. 12 years federal prison, $3. $2 million restitution. 17 arrests dismantled the ring. 3 commissioners convicted of bribery. The HOA dissolved. My farm expanded to 60 acres with seized land. Federal wetland, preserved, protected, everything forever. We launched the Willowbrook Apple Festival. Music, vendors, wetland tours, celebrating resilience over greed. Vigilance continues. I set up a hotline, trained others on corruption patterns. Last month, a neighboring permits director called. Same playbook, different farms. "Jake, we need your help again." I looked at the mist rising over Dad's trees and said I'd be there. Some fights are worth having. Some places are worth protecting. No matter how many HOA Karens think they can buy what was never for sale. Drop your worst HOA or developer story below. Your experience might help someone else. Subscribe and hit the bell for more David versus Goliath tales where knowledge, community, and the law crush corruption and greed.